Good morning, my friends. In the next few meditations, I want to offer you some mindful approaches to coming out of this time of isolation and pandemic. As we begin to turn the corner, there seem to be many of us who are left struggling with this period of isolation and loneliness. Maybe more acutely aware because it is about to shift towards greater connection with others. And interestingly enough, many of us are aware, only as we begin to come out of it, of the impact that this isolation has had on our sense of who we are, where we're connected, and what we can rely on to be part of our lives. And these are conditions that bring about, for many, a sense of deep loneliness and separation. I want to offer you something from Thich Nhat Hanh, which is spoken about in different words by many Zen masters, and that is what Thai called interbeing, the sense and the certainty that all things are in a relationship of dependency and connection with every other one. Thai might suggest that the experience of loneliness, however painful and real it feels, and it does, has at its core a misperception that we are somehow actually living a life that is separate from others. This is not how many of us think about loneliness and working through it. It is about deeply knowing how interconnected we all are, to the point that everything is dependent and co-arising. Our loneliness cannot exist without the experience inside of us of connection to others as we remember it. Our separation is dependent upon the pandemic and a need to protect one another. And the pandemic will pass, as do all things. So let us be seated and move forward to understand more about interbeing and loneliness. Please be seated if you're not already, acknowledging as you breathe all the things that are a part of you from which you are not separate right now, including the chair underneath you, the air around you, where you are living, and the trees and clay as bricks, the window makers, and the workers who put the pieces of your house together. Allow your mind to be aware. Ask it to become aware of as many things as possible that make this place where you are seated at this moment your home. And now turning your awareness to your body, and Thai puts it this way. He describes how our human bodies are shared, rented, and occupied by countless other tiny organisms, without whom we couldn't move a muscle, drum a finger, think a thought, digest our food, none of which are human bodies themselves, but all of which come together to create the one that is ours. I remember being startled at one point by learning that 90% of the DNA in our human bodies are exactly the same as what is found in a banana. A profound example of interbeing. Reflect on that for a moment, and how it is that we would not be here in our bodies without a countless number of human and non-human cells, like a banana, remember? Thai suggests that there are no solitary beings, but rather the whole planet is one giant, living, breathing cell with all of its working parts linked in dependency upon one another. We are not alone, even though feelings of emptiness and loneliness do arise as you mindfully notice your loneliness when it's there. With the lens of interbeing, we can notice that our loneliness is a continuation of all the relationship experiences we've had in our life, and a desire and imagination from those parts of your body and heart that desire connection. Without those relationships, there would be no desire for connection or anything to connect with. It took me a while in mindfulness practice to truly get the idea of interbeing, and then to have it become a reality and the lens through which I look at the world. And yes, of course, I do get lonely. And as you are developing, I have the gift of mindfulness and awareness, breathing into that center within me, and that I am a continuation of my parents and ancestors, of significant relationships in my life, and my own children who carry my genes, expressions, skills, talents, and relationship with me into their lives. We are all a continuation. We are. Using this lens, we can gain a deeper insight about loneliness. The insight is that we are always a part of, connected to, influencing, and receiving influence from the world around us. And thus lonely feelings do not actually represent a true reality of actually being alone, which we can never be. So as you look forward to beginning to come out of this time of severe isolation, in many ways, there are some natural results of realizing the nature of interbeing in our lives and in our world. Reflect on these. Through loneliness, we have increased compassion, understanding, and patience. In our loneliness, we might find that we connect with others more easily and with less judgment and more curiosity. Reflect on where this might be true in your own life. Either it already has been, or it may be coming up as you anticipate reconnections. How will you connect differently? With greater compassion, understanding, and patience, born out of your loneliness. Another quality born out of loneliness is that of humility and gratitude. I know for me, in my times of greater loneliness and feelings of isolation, I am humbled by the way in which I am connected and actually need the company of others from whom I've been separated. That is humbling, yes, and I am grateful. And the third and last natural result arising out of loneliness is a renewed sense of belonging and an increased sense of responsibility for the health and well-being of others, our planet, our attitudes, our actions, that can literally impact, shape, and reverberate much farther than we could ever have imagined in the world around us. This pandemic has revealed to some of us that we are, in fact, each other's keepers. So as you go out, resolve to soothe and lessen any negativity you receive rather than passing it on to others. Don't help it to grow. Be mindful of the gratitude within you that reveals your loneliness and the gratitude for those with whom you want to be connected. And notice how your own loneliness lifts when you begin with a smile. Take it with you, my friends. Namaste. Amen.